Hi everyone, it's Marianne. For today's video, I'll be sharing with you my plant propagation updates. Thank you so much for joining me today. And over the winter, I have propagated some plants. It might not be the most ideal time to propagate those plants, but if you watch my propagation series that I did a few weeks ago, you'll see how I was able to propagate plants over winter time, and some of them have graduated out of their propagation boxes, and I've also have some plants that I propagated a while ago and maybe shared on my YouTube shorts or on my Instagram reels, and people have been asking updates and haven't shared updates yet, so you'll find those updates first in this video. So I hope you keep on watching, and if this is your first time seeing me, hi, my name is Marianne. Welcome to My Oasis Life, where I take you along my houseplant journey and share with you some of my tips and tricks along the way. And I also share lifestyle content that is focused on sustainability, wellness, and productivity, as well as sharing my personal vlogs and travel vlogs here and there. So if that type of content interests you, make sure to subscribe to my channel before the end of this video, and also like this video and comment down below and share your thoughts with me. I would love to read them. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. So similar to my early spring plant growth updates, the one that inspired me to do my plant propagation updates video finally is this one. I got this from Hawaii from my trip about 3 months ago, and I did an entire vlog series on, so if you haven't seen it yet, the link will be up here and also down in the description. And I got this from an ABC store in Waikiki, and normally you can take plants in and out of Hawaii without proper documentation, but this one was pre-inspected already by the Department of Agriculture in Hawaii, and they were selling it at the ABC store, so I decided to get one. And when I got it, it was just the node itself. It didn't have any growth on it, no roots, no nothing, and honestly I didn't know how to grow this or propagate this at all. I just followed the instructions that it came in when it comes to potting it, but I didn't have sand or anything. That's what they recommended. I had perlite, so I decided to propagate it in perlite, since it's also a propagation method that I'm very familiar with. But honestly, since potting it up in perlite, I haven't done anything to it except water it occasionally. There's no root growth that is visible to me, but I haven't kind of like yanked it out of the perlite to check, but I did notice that it started to push out new growth on top. And honestly, for quite a while, I don't really know what to expect with the new growth. I was kind of thinking maybe I'll get foliage or maybe branching finally, but I didn't expect blooms, which is kind of weird to not expect blooms in hindsight, since a lot of the trees growing right now is pushing out flowers first before they start to regrow their foliage again. But this morning, I was so excited to see this one open up and saw this bloom, and I also now know what kind of flower or what are the colors of the plumeria flower that I'm gonna get, because in the packaging of this node, the flower had a different color. It was like white with the yellow inside, but this one I'm actually really glad that I got this color because it's so pretty. So even though it wasn't what the package advertised, I'm still very happy with the type of bloom that I got, and I'm actually really surprised that I got a bloom out of this soon, because from what I learned from others who tried to grow a plumeria node, it does take months, even years, to really see something come out of the node. So I'm really happy about this one, and I hope it continues to grow and I would actually get some foliage out of it and hopefully some root growth this growing season. I'll definitely keep you updated, but I'm really excited about this plumeria node finally blooming. And on this table is the plants that I want to update you on, and starting with the monstera deliciosa that you can see at the back. And I did a video repotting my monstera deliciosa because it started yellowing, but after that first repotting, it continued to yellow, so I repotted it again, and I think I shared that update in a couple of shorts, and this is the latest update on it now. So right now I only have one single leaf left on my monstera deliciosa. I did sell the mother plant like about a month ago, so I'm only left with the propagation, but the propagation, as mentioned earlier, suffered yellowing, and I was only left with one plant now. But I am rooting for this one, and I think we're back on the mend because it's been a couple weeks since I repotted it and it didn't show any signs of yellowing. So I think the method that I employed the second time before I repotted it, like letting it callus overnight and putting cinnamon on the roots when it was callusing overnight, really helped with the process to stop the rotting and stop the yellowing of the leaf. So even though it's a single leaf right now, it is a very beautiful single leaf. And I'm okay with it being just a single leaf for now, to be honest, because it's not taking up a lot of space. I just wanted to take its own sweet time regrowing its roots before it push out any new growth. I'm very happy with one leaf as long as this one leaf survives. Because look at it, it's so pretty, so huge, very fenestrated right now. Yeah, so that's the update on the monstera deliciosa that I recently repotted. So next update is on my rhaphidophora tetraspherma that made it into my top 10 plants for 2021. And right after that, it suffered from massive scales. So I had to like kind of chop it down and propagate it. And while I did come up with a lot of propagations from the rhaphidophora tetraspherma, I ended up giving away those cuttings to some of the members of a Facebook plant group that I'm in because I don't need a lot of rhaphidophora tetraspherma plants. So with this one, I think I ended up with 2 cuttings and it was propagating in water, and I recently repotted it. Well, I repotted it maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and now I think it has fully adjusted to the pot it's in and being in soil, and it has pushed out a couple of new growth. So I'm really excited about this one, but this one I honestly think I'm gonna end up selling because I don't think I need a rhaphidophora tetraspherma in my plant collection anymore, I think. So that's my feeling about this. So this one is probably gonna end up getting sold or getting traded out for another plant. But like I said, with rhaphidophora tetraspherma, for me, even though I always had problems with it, it always bounces back. So I'm never worried every time it suffers from either scales or maybe the other time that I accidentally chopped it and broke off the entire plant, or when it suffered root rot the very first time. This one always bounces back pretty easily. So if you have a rhaphidophora tetraspherma and you're having issues with it, don't worry. As long as you catch it early, propagate it again, it would bounce back and give you a whole new plant like I have with this one right now. Next propagation update is from my plant of the year, peperomia, and I featured my string of turtles and demonstrated how easy it is to propagate peperomias, especially the string of turtles. And here are those propagations now. So I believe this is the one that I propagated in that video. As you can see, it has pushed out lots of new growth and it has taken to the propagation, which was so easy. It's just me putting the cuttings on top of the soil. Nothing special, put it in a pot box, and it has grown so much since. And this one I kind of did right after that because I decided to make more cuttings from my string of turtles just to give it some trim. But I put it in a cup that has Cebu blue pothos nodes, and the Cebu blue pothos nodes also have started to push out new growth. So I don't know what's gonna happen with this one. I don't want to repot it because I don't like repotting. String of turtles is going to stay in here until it finds its new owner, because like with the rhaphidophora tetraspherma, this one is either going to end up also being given away, sold, or traded away, since I still have the string of turtles mother plant and that's the only one that I intended to keep. So if anyone's interested, I actually might give away one of this to one of my subscribers, because this one is kind of like easy to ship and I don't have trouble shipping string of turtles. I think I shipped one before. So yeah, if you're interested in me doing a giveaway on this and maybe some of the propagations that I mentioned that I'm going to give away or just sell, let me know down in the comments and I will set up that giveaway soon. And next one is a plant that I have been talking about a lot because I'm really impressed with this plant. It's one of my new favorite plant babies. Is my Hoya fishtail. So I got this off a trade just as a 2-leaf, single-leaf cutting. I believe this one is the original cutting of that, and it has grown so much since. And I've already taken this out of the pot box just to make sure it acclimates to a non-pot box situation, and it still continued to push out growth, and it actually has some root growth on the vines over here. So I'm actually thinking of cutting it again and propagating it so that it will become a much fuller plant. But we will see. But right now I'm really happy with the growth it has, and it's such an easy care plant for a Hoya plant that's considered to still be on the uncommon / rare side when it comes to Hoya plants. But yeah, that is my Hoya fishtail out of the pot box and thriving even though it's out of the pot box. And a couple more propagations that have graduated out of the pot box is one is the peperomia hope. I don't know if I actually shared that I propagated this, because the last time I talked about this, it was just like one long vine, which is this vine. And as you can see from here, it has sprouted new growth after I cut it from that. And I kind of stuck the cuttings on the base. Some of them have taken to the soil, some of them haven't yet. I think if I tug on some of them, they're still coming out and haven't like grown roots to attach themselves to the soil or to the moss, but they're not dying, so they're still kind of like chilling there, and they're doing well so far. Since a lot of the plants have been taken out of the prop box, I just decided to take them all out, so this one probably could still use some time in the prop box, but so far it's doing well. It is managing, it's continued to grow well, so it's okay being outside of the prop box even though prematurely, and it's looking good and it has some new growth. So yeah, so that is the peperomia hope, and the other one is the philodendron micans. I think I also showed this as part of a propagation demonstration video for a shorts or in my earlier YouTube videos as part of my propagation series, but it has started to grow roots. As you can see, the roots are coming out of the drainage holes, and I do have some more cuttings that I am propagating because I accidentally cut off the vine of my micans one time, but they're propagating in water. It's going to be a while before those start to grow roots, so they're just still chilling in their water propagation. And next one is my shangrila pothos. I know someone asked me updates on the shangrila pothos because I believe I showed a video of me propagating this or repotting this in a YouTube shorts video or in an Instagram reel, but I couldn't find a comment anymore, so I really don't know where to share it, but I'm sharing it here in my YouTube videos. So what happened was it did suffer a bit of root rot out of the prop box after it came back from vacation, if I remember correctly. So I just made it into a bunch of single leaf cuttings and propagated in moss, stuck it in the prop box, and I did lose a couple of leaves, but the nodes were okay. So as you can see, I don't know if you can see down here, down there, there's a new growth coming out of that node, and there was a leaf attached to that previously that died out, and so far most of the cuttings have survived. I don't see, well actually now I do. I see some of the root growth coming out of the drainage holes down here, but I don't think I'm going to be repotting this anytime soon because as I recall with the shangrila pothos, unlike my other pothos plants, it doesn't grow extensive roots very quickly. It doesn't get root bound very quickly. So I think it's going to be fine in here. I'm just going to keep it in here for as long as possible. And even though some of the roots are starting to poke out, I might just like cut them off and just keep the plant in here for as long as possible. I know it's kind of like more on the rare side, but epipremnums in general, they propagate really well and they propagate very easily. So I'm not surprised that this one did actually propagate pretty well, and I didn't really have any problems with it while it was propagating. And I have like 3 more here that I don't know if it's exciting to share, but this is my monstera adansonii narrow form where I combined like the original plant, the mother plant, with the propagation. It also has been doing well. I think I did a shorts or an Instagram reel on that. And this is the only scindapsus pictus argyreaus I have left. So kind of like with a pearls and jade pothos that I have chilling in the kitchen, where I kind of put a bunch of smaller leaves of the scindapsus pictus argyreaus and propagated them all together in hopes that it would stay a small plant. And so far, I think it's going to be. I did lose a couple of leaves, and I also see a couple of leaves that is yellowing, but I'm also seeing some new growth pushing out. So we'll see what happens with this one. And this one is the emerald pothos. It is a propagation that I had growing in water, and I decided to pot it up. And so far, I think it is taking to the repotting. I mean, it is pushing out new growth, even though as you can see, the growth is very small. That's why I kind of decided to take it out of the water and into soil where it could get some more nutrients. But we will see what happened with this one. And this is also a plant that I'm going to probably end up trading, giving away, or selling. So if you're interested in this plant and you want me to add it to my plant giveaway, then let me know down in the comments. And for the last group of propagations that I'm going to update you on, these are still in water propagations and I haven't repotted or transplanted them yet, and probably will not soon. Although for a couple of them, I probably do have to repot them soon. So let's go check which ones that I have to repot and which ones are staying in water. So first one that is in water still and probably would stay in water is my monstera standleyana albo. So as you can see, it does have extensive roots, and by the looks of it, I could probably repot this, but I'm waiting for it to grow more roots before I actually repot it, just so I know that I want softer root rot with it again, but just want to make sure it has extensive roots that it could withstand repotting or any transplant. I haven't decided yet if I am transplanting this into leca again or do it in soil. As you can see with my monstera standleyana aurea, it is in leca and doing well in leca, but even with that, I'm not really sure if I'm going to keep it in leca forever or continue to keep it in leca even for this growing season. So kind of deciding the same with the monstera standleyana albo. I do have about like 3 cuttings in here. One is kind of reverted, this one. So this one I might end up giving away, selling, trading. But I'm only planning to keep 1 or 2 of the cuttings that I have in this tiny jar. And lastly are the cuttings that I have in this jar, which is a bunch of different cuttings. And water just spilled all over my legs, but that's okay. So let me take it out of the water and just inspect all of them. So this one is a Thai basil cutting that I got off the pho my sister brought me for lunch, and I decided to save one of the Thai basil that it came with and try to propagate it so that I can have a Thai basil plant. And so let's see the bunch of cuttings. As you can see, some of them ignore the drip. Some of them have extensive roots and some of them are still trying to grow roots. So it's probably a good thing that I'm checking on them now as I'm filming this. So this is a silver splash cuttings, or I think this one's an exotica, the larger one, but the smaller one's a silver splash. And as you can see, not much root growth yet, so it's gonna stay in water. And this one, a monstera adansonii, and I have sold my monstera adansonii, like the big pot that I had propagating in my prop box. I've sold that off, but I did keep one of the cuttings, the one that I have been propagating in water, and this is that. So I really like how fenestrated it is, even though it is a much smaller plant right now. Again, not sure if I'm keeping this, but the monstera adansonii I had it growing up a bamboo trellis, so I might do that for this again, but I'm not sure. I honestly don't know if I'm going to be keeping this. Probably one of those plants that I'm going to end up giving away again. This one is a cutting of a global green pothos. I do have an emerald pothos and the reverted mandula pothos that has a green and green variegation in it that I am planning to repot and probably pot all of them together, and I'm thinking of potting this along with them. We will see. I mean, it's kind of similar looking plants, so I think they would look good all together. So it's kind of like the Pearls and Jade, Enjoy, Glacier, pothos type situation. They have very similar variegations that it's okay to pot them up together. So I think I'm going to be doing that with this one. But yeah, as you can see, this is the mandula green pothos that I also nicknamed Marianne pothos, that some people still give me grief about. Like, honestly, call your plants whatever you want. I'm calling mine Marianne pothos. You can name any of your plants after yourself. It's totally okay. And nobody has to adapt the same name if they don't want it. But yeah, so this is like the mandula green on green pothos, aka the Marianne pothos, that I have been propagating as well, and probably will pot up with the global green pothos and the emerald pothos. And lastly, I have some Cebu blue pothos cuttings that has grown some roots but not enough, so I'm gonna let it grow a bit more roots before I pot it up. And this one is also probably gonna be given away / be traded away or sold depending on the demand. And this is just more of that silver splash cuttings that still need to grow a bit more roots. So those are all my plant propagation updates. If I missed any, let me know down in the comments, and I'll make sure to share the update with you in the form of a YouTube shorts, or if you're following me on Instagram, in the form of an Instagram reel, or on TikTok, I will make a video about them. I'm probably going to be cross posting anyways, so if you're following me on YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok, you'll be sure to catch it. So just make sure you comment down below to let me know which updates that you want me to give more of or I missed. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. If you're new here, please do subscribe. I come up with videos every week. And if you haven't yet, check out these videos up here until my next one. But until then, I see you. I appreciate you. Take care of yourself and each other, and have a plentiful day. Bye!